Donald Trump just sent shockwaves through the anti-gun establishment with a bold declaration. He wants to make concealed carry permits valid from coast to coast. That's right, nationwide concealed carry reciprocity. If you're licensed to carry in your home state, that permit should be good in every state across the country. For millions of law-abiding gun owners, this isn't just another campaign line, it's a serious stand against state-level overreach that turns responsible citizens into criminals for crossing an invisible line on the map. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what Trump is proposing, what it means for folks who care about the Second Amendment, and why this could be the most significant advancement in gun rights we've seen in decades. We'll take apart the critics' talking points and show you why this moment could be a true tipping point in the fight to protect our right to carry. For a country that claims to value freedom, it's downright absurd how gun owners have to jump through hoops just to legally carry a firearm from one state to another. Under the current system, someone who's fully trained, vetted, and licensed in their own state could end up in handcuffs just by driving across a state border. That's the kind of insanity we're dealing with. Imagine if your driver's license became invalid the second you hit another state line. Sounds ridiculous, right? But that's exactly the reality concealed carriers face on a daily basis. Each state has its own set of carry laws. Some recognize permits from other states, some don't. And some change the rules with the seasons. Unless you're a legal expert, it's almost impossible to keep track, and getting it wrong can wreck your life. Take the case of Shawneen Allen from Pennsylvania. She was a hard-working single mother, fully licensed to carry a handgun in her state. But back in the year 2013, she drove into New Jersey with her legally owned pistol and got arrested during a routine traffic stop. She had no idea her Pennsylvania permit didn't apply just a few miles over the state line. For that mistake, she was facing up to 10 years behind bars. She was later pardoned, but the damage was done. Her life was turned upside down over something that should have never been a crime in the first place. Then there's Marine Corps veteran Sergeant Andrew Tomoresi. In the year 2014, he accidentally drove across the border from Arizona into Mexico with a few of his personal firearms in the back of his truck. They were legal in Arizona, but not in Mexico. Despite his honorable service to our country, he spent 7 months locked up in a Mexican prison before finally being released. These aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a broken system that punishes good Americans for nothing more than exercising their Second Amendment rights in the wrong zip code. The Constitution couldn't be clearer. Our right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. But if that right disappears as soon as you cross into a different state, how meaningful is it, really? States like California and New York have passed so many restrictions that the Second Amendment barely exists on paper anymore. It's treated more like a suggestion than a constitutional guarantee. Until we fix this broken framework, gun owners who follow the rules will keep getting thrown under the bus. That's why Trump's call for nationwide reciprocity is such a big deal, because it could finally force states to recognize that the right to carry doesn't end at their border. Now let's talk about what national concealed carry reciprocity actually means. In simple terms, it's the idea that if you're licensed to carry a concealed firearm in one state, then that license should be recognized in all 50, just like your driver's license. And this isn't a brand new concept either. Lawmakers have been pushing for it in Congress for years under what's called the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act. Back in the year 2017, the House of Representatives passed H.R. 38, a bill that would have amended Title 18 of the United States Code to force states to honor carry permits issued by any other state. It got through the House but died in the Senate before ever reaching the president's desk. Still, Public support for reciprocity has only grown stronger since then. The argument in favor is simple. This would cut through the legal confusion and make life a whole lot safer for law-abiding carriers. Right now, the patchwork of laws isn't just a hassle, it's a trap. People who've done everything by the book are still ending up behind bars because of bureaucratic red tape. National reciprocity would still respect states' rights to issue permits under their own standards, but it would also affirm that the right to bear arms doesn't change based on geography. It brings clarity, consistency, and most importantly, it restores respect for the Constitution. At the end of the day, what we're talking about isn't some fringe idea, it's common sense. When it comes to a basic constitutional right, like the ability to defend yourself and your loved ones, the laws shouldn't change every time you cross a state line. National reciprocity would finally give responsible gun owners the consistency and protection they deserve no matter where they go in this country. President-elect Donald Trump has made it crystal clear he's fully committed to pushing national concealed carry reciprocity across the finish line. His plan would bring all 50 states under a single standard, meaning if you're legally licensed to carry a concealed firearm in your home state, that right would travel with you no matter where you go in the United States. In a recent speech, Trump didn't mince words. He said, "I will protect the right of self-defense everywhere it is under siege, and I will sign concealed carry reciprocity." Your Second Amendment does not end at the state line. That statement cuts right to the heart of the issue. Your right to defend yourself doesn't disappear just because you cross a border. Trump's goal is to eliminate the confusing legal gaps that have put countless responsible gun owners in jeopardy just for traveling with a concealed firearm. He made his point even more clear with another strong comparison. Just like your driver's license or your marriage license, your Second Amendment must apply across state lines. He's drawing a line in the sand. Our fundamental right to bear arms should be treated with the same respect and consistency as other basic legal recognitions. This effort from Trump isn't just another campaign pledge, it's a full-throttle response to the aggressive anti-gun agenda being pushed by the political left. At its core, this is about restoring a basic human right, the right to protect yourself and the people you care about, no matter where you are in the country. The broken patchwork of state laws we have today has turned too many honest citizens into accidental criminals, simply because they unknowingly stepped into a jurisdiction that doesn't respect their permit. That's not just an inconvenience, it's a direct threat to our freedoms. What Trump's proposing is a unified system that respects the Constitution while making life safer and simpler for law-abiding gun owners. Advocates for national reciprocity point out that it does more than just reinforce our right to carry. It could also serve as a powerful crime deterrent. When more responsible citizens are armed, criminals have to think twice. It's about leveling the playing field and ensuring that good people aren't left defenseless just because they crossed a state line. This fight is about more than just cleaning up a legal mess. It's about reclaiming ground that's been chipped away from the Second Amendment for decades. If nationwide reciprocity becomes law, responsible folks who've gone through background checks, training courses, and licensing procedures will finally be able to travel freely without constantly worrying about falling into a legal trap. Whether you're taking your family on a road trip, moving to a new state for work, or just heading out for a weekend getaway, your right to carry would finally come with you. Supporters of this movement also highlight a frustrating double standard. Criminals already move across state lines without a care in the world. They're not checking reciprocity maps or looking up statutes. They're exploiting the inconsistencies in our laws to move illegal firearms through what's known as the Iron Pipeline, especially along Interstate 95. Guns are smuggled from states with looser laws into places like New York and New Jersey, where legal gun owners are treated like criminals just for carrying. That's the problem. Criminals don't follow laws, but law-abiding citizens do. And yet, it's the honest folks who end up paying the price. Let's not forget concealed carry. Permit holders are among the most law-abiding Americans out there. They go through background checks, mandatory training, and licensing. Statistically, they are more responsible than the general population when it comes to obeying the law. National reciprocity wouldn't put firearms in the hands of dangerous people. It would give peace of mind to those who've done everything right. It's about time the law stopped punishing the good guys. Even with momentum picking up, there's no doubt this fight is going to hit serious resistance. Opponents of national reciprocity are already digging in their heels, throwing around the usual talking points, mainly that more legal gun carriers will somehow lead to more crime. But that claim doesn't hold up when you actually look at the data. Studies from the Crime Prevention Research Center paint a totally different picture. Folks with concealed carry licenses are some of the most law-abiding citizens out there. In fact, in places like Florida and Texas, permit holders have been convicted of crimes at rates significantly lower than even police officers. That's not theory, that's hard evidence. And real-world events drive the point home even further. Look back at the mall shooting in Portland, Oregon in the year 2012, or the tragedy in Sutherland Springs, Texas in 2017. In both cases, armed citizens stepped up and took action, potentially stopping even greater loss of life. These examples prove that responsible gun owners aren't the problem, they're often the solution when things go bad. One of the louder objections from the anti-gun side is that national reciprocity would somehow infringe on state sovereignty. But here's the thing, the United States Constitution already requires states to honor legal documents like marriage licenses and driver's licenses through the full faith and credit clause. Extending that same principle to concealed carry permits isn't federal overreach. It's applying the same logic to a core constitutional right. States would still retain the power to issue and regulate their permits, but those permits would be respected nationwide. That's not tyranny, it's common sense. Then there's the blatant hypocrisy we see from anti-gun politicians and celebrities who shout about banning firearms while walking around with armed security details. It's a glaring double standard, and it sends a dangerous message that the right to self-defense is only for the rich and powerful, while regular Americans should be left vulnerable. National reciprocity flips that script. It tells every law-abiding citizen, regardless of their income, background, or zip code, that their right to defend themselves is not negotiable. Right now, we've got real momentum. This is the time for every supporter of the Second Amendment to take action. Get on the phone and call your senators and representatives. Join strong organizations like the United States Concealed Carry Association. Show up at your local town hall meetings, sign petitions, share the truth online. The fight for gun rights isn't just a political issue, it's a daily battle that affects millions of Americans. Let's be clear, the anti-gun crowd is relentless. They're constantly working to pass laws that restrict what we can carry, where we can carry it, and how we're allowed to defend our lives. That's why it's absolutely critical to stay informed. Vote for candidates who respect the Constitution and make sure our elected officials know they work for us. The Second Amendment isn't just an outdated phrase on a piece of paper, it's the foundation of our freedom. With strong leadership and unity across the country, national concealed carry reciprocity can become a reality. And when that day comes, it will send an unmistakable message to Washington and every anti-gun lobbyist out there. Our rights are not up for debate, and we're done playing defense.